Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Battle for States, a show where we track elections and their impact very closely. 5 days before the campaigning for assembly elections ends in Madhya Pradesh, the BJP has released its manifesto, and its promises are a mix of welfare outreach to women, youth and farmers. Now, a lot of emphasis is on education and infrastructure for a state that still falls behind many when it comes to private investments. The BJP's Sankalp Patra has promises such as increasing procurement cost of paddy in Chhattisgarh and hiking the MSP of wheat in Madhya Pradesh. But it does not promise the farm loan waiver in either of the states. Waiving of farmer loans is a big promise that the Congress has made both in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. BJP's Chhattisgarh manifesto actually has more welfare promises than Congress and than its own promises in MP, because clearly many of the schemes such as the Ladli Behna Yojana that promises income support to poor women have already been announced by Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan. Remember that the BJP has been in power in Madhya Pradesh since 2003, barring a 15-month period when the Congress ruled the state. The Congress in MP, meanwhile, has promised an IPL team for the state and free education from KG to PG in government colleges, while the BJP has promised a quality engineering and medical college in every division. Now, these schemes are also seen as an attempt to reach out to youngsters who have been affected by paper leaks, delays and alleged corruption in government recruitment, both in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. If the Congress that already claims to run a welfare government in Chhattisgarh had to revise its promises after the BJP announced a lot more, the BJP too has imbibed promises such as a welfare board for gig workers, something that the Congress has been harping on. So in this battle of manifestos, whatever you call them, a Sankalp Patra or a Bharosa Patra, do they actually matter for people of these states? Is this competitive welfareism good for the people of these states that are still struggling for basic essentials? Should parties only make realistic claims and not give assurances that are not rooted in reality? And should they be held accountable to what they promise and what they don't deliver? We're asking these questions tonight. Joining me is a panel of esteemed guests, senior journalist Arati R. Jerath and Abhilash Khandekar. Mr. Khandekar also works for the Lokmat Media Group. We also have Anuma Acharya, who represents the Congress, and Dr. Gulrez Sheikh, who's from the BJP. Thank you all of you for joining me on this discussion. Okay, let me go to Anuma Acharya first. Ma'am, the Congress has actually promised so many welfare schemes and freebies, but actually there is this question of fiscal prudence. When you talk about free education, when you talk about a whole lot of freebies that you are talking about both in Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, the question of financial management, how is the party going to navigate some of these questions?
The party, today's Mr. Kamal Nath has tweeted just a while ago, and he has talked about it. How many MSMEs we are going to open, we are going to attract the investment, and we are actually going to do it because we have experience of running the government successfully for years together. And when Mr. Kamal Nath ji was already there for 15 months, at that time, the investments have started to come. Mr. Ajim Premji has already started, visited Bhopal, and the project was about to be launched when our government was stabbed in the back, and it was the assassination democratically of the government. So what Congress is promising, Congress is capable of doing, and people of Madhya Pradesh are really dejected with Bharatiya Janata Party, who comes up with thousands of promises without any report card of even their most marketed schemes like Ladli Behna Yojana or any other Yojana. There are 22,000 plus schemes they have announced, and nothing has come on ground. Their report card is not there, and therefore this time people of Madhya Pradesh are awakened and alert, and they are going to vote for a party which can do, because Mr. Kamal Nath has also controlled the mafia, which was a land mafia, which was they call it rape mafia, and then there was adulteration mafia. Mr. Kamal Nath could control all of it. He could offer 27% of OBC reservation. The investment, your question again, the investment was started to come in Madhya Pradesh, but once again, we are going to make the government this time. I am speaking to you from Gwalior, and in Gwalior, I can see out of 34 seats, at least 30 seats are being backed by Congress, and this is what is our assessment over here. Vasudha.
Dr. Sheikh, would you like to respond to what Ms. Acharya is saying? She's saying that she's very confident about the party's reach, and while Madhya Pradesh, we understand, is not like Karnataka, the means of revenues are also minimal. I wanted to ask you, farmers' welfare has been an important part of both parties' promises, but Congress party is promising farm loan waiver, something that your party has shied away from. Do you think that is going to be a disadvantage to you in this election?
Well, we never give fake promises, unlike Congress party. And in Madhya Pradesh, we saw a trailer of horror movie for 15 months, and then the people of Madhya Pradesh rejected them, and the government of Mr. Kamal Nath fell down. As far as the farmers loan waiver is concerned, none of the farmers were given waiver during the tenure of Mr. Kamal Nath, and also not only in Madhya Pradesh. They even didn't give any waiver in Rajasthan. They didn't give any waiver in Chhattisgarh, and that is the reason they have to promise again those all things in the state of Chhattisgarh. As far as the farmers of Madhya Pradesh are concerned, they actually made them culprit in banks, and so 2,200 crore rupees were given by the Shivraj Singh Chauhan government to the banks so that farmers didn't become defaulters. They turned the Kamal Nath government was the government which turned farmers of Madhya Pradesh into defaulters, and ma'am was talking about mafia in Madhya Pradesh. How can we forget that Bihar-style mafia was running in Madhya Pradesh during the tenure of Mr. Kamal Nath? The abduction of children for ransom took place. We also saw the bodies of kids lying in the drain in Satna, and their own minister, their own forest minister of Kamal Nath cabinet, Mr. Umang Singhar, used to say the biggest mafia in Madhya Pradesh, the biggest liquor mafia, the biggest land mafia is nobody else other than Mr. Digvijay Singh. These were the words of forest minister of Mr. Kamal Nath. So these are the people who tried to use the state as an ATM. They were minting money out of Madhya Pradesh, and income tax department found more than 270 crore rupees at the house of Mr. Miglani. And who is this Mr. Miglani? He's a very close aide of Mr. Kamal Nath. From where that money came? That was looted money from Madhya Pradesh.
Right, sir. I know Ms. Acharya, you want to respond to him, but let me just bring in Mr. Khandekar here. So while there's a lot of focus, sir, on women welfare, both parties have been reaching out to women with income support promises, but I feel that a lot of promises are also to do with youngsters, because clearly there seems to be some disenchantment with youngsters, with paper leaks, recruitment scams. We hear of this Patwari scams everywhere. So in both the states, both Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh. Now the BJP manifesto highlights filling up 1 lakh vacant government jobs in Chhattisgarh in 2 years. The Congress is also making similar promises in MP. How do you see this, Mr. Khandekar?
So the manifesto, which was released about two days ago, is talking a lot of freebies in the shape of official schemes. And the Shivraj Singh government has definitely tried to give some jobs, but so far that has not realized, in the sense that jobs have not been given to the youths as per the promises made earlier. Now the new manifesto, which has been released very recently, is again promising the same thing. So not many people are taken in by the promises or the manifesto, which speaks about all kinds of soaps, including giving 1 lakh jobs per year. So one doesn't really know whether, if Shivraj comes back, if he remains the chief minister again after the elections, the promises will be honored. So I don't think that beyond the Ladli Behna and the women's welfare scheme, the Madhya Pradesh government or the BJP government today is focusing anything else. Most of the state exchequer money is being given to Ladli Behna and the schemes meant for young girls. School-going girls, whether it is in the shape of laptops or scooties or two-wheelers. But the real solid assurance for the youths is missing from the manifesto.
Right. Mr. Jerath, when you look at the BJP's election manifestos from 1996, and I know you've closely covered the party also, there is this consistent pattern of fielding core Hindutva issues. Even now, the BJP manifesto talks about developing religious circuit around Shakti Peeths in Chhattisgarh on the lines of Char Dham Yatra. The Congress, meanwhile, is promising caste census in both states. We have this party's recent push for OBC, SC, ST welfare. Both parties are trying to push their narratives. How do you see this working in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh?
What I find about the Madhya Pradesh elections in particular is, there are two aspects really. There is competitive freebies and competitive Hindutva. Kamal Nath says, I built this huge Hanuman Mandir in Chhindwara. Now Shivraj Singh Chauhan has said he is going to renovate and redo even bigger Hanuman, an old Hanuman temple in Chhindwara, and he's going to make it bigger and better. This is the kind of competition that is going on between the BJP and the Congress. And if you look at their freebie promises, except perhaps for the loan waiver scheme, which the BJP has stayed away from, the Congress has promised, on all other schemes, they sound the same. And I mean, honestly, I don't know whether voters get taken in by this, because I think, you're in every election, they are promised lots of things in manifestos, they are promised lots of things during press conferences, and ultimately, their lives don't really improve very much. I mean, they're still more or less where they were. Maybe some amount of infrastructure has got better, but, their lives really haven't improved very much, because Madhya Pradesh is still amongst one of the poorest states in India. So, I don't know whether they can fool voters with this kind of competitive freebies, competitive Hindutva. I really don't know. And this caste census is another, another empty promise. If you look at the, Congress party's list, there are more non-OBC castes than OBC castes, and the same thing goes for the BJP's list. There are more upper castes than OBC castes. So, they all pay lip service to, OBC castes, and, Dalits and scheduled tribes in any case have reserved seats. So both parties have done whatever they needed to in terms of giving SC, ST tickets. But they've not gone beyond what is required as far as reservation, as far as the reserve seats are concerned.
Right.
And but on OBC, I mean, the Congress has promised this, but they have not increased the OBC representation in their candidate list. Just like the BJP, which also pays lip service to OBCs, has not has given more tickets to upper caste than to OBCs. So ultimately, where does it leave us? I mean, analysts, voters. Where does it leave us when we look at these two parties? Don't see much difference. And I think really, not much hope in terms of delivery.
Right. Ms. Acharya, would you like to respond to that? Congress falling short on both women and OBC representation. And this one point that Dr. Sheikh made, that people will believe parties that have a credibility and history of delivery. And in Madhya Pradesh, unfortunately, Congress has just about 15 months of governance. So there's BJP has been in power for 18 years. So there's hardly that people might even remember about the party's record of delivery.
Vasudha, today, the second video of Mr. Narendra Singh Tomar's son has been made viral, and he's talking about 500 crores and this and that transactions worth that much. This is the second video, no ED, no CBI, nothing. So this is the nightmare. What BJP spokesperson was talking about, this is the nightmare. Secondly, loan waiver scheme, this was implemented. Mr. Kamal Patel, who is their Minister of Agriculture, he has accepted, and he has said that loan worth 11,000 crore rupees for 27 lakh farmers was waived off. This was his.
Dr. Sheikh, let her finish.
Now, this as of now, Madhya Pradesh tops in malnutrition. And yes, I do respect Ms. Arati Jerath, but one thing I want to tell you, that the power of Congress lies within people. And when Congress is powerful, the power goes back to the hands of people, like all those right-based schemes like right to food, right to health, right to education. And this time also Congress has said that we will have KG to PG, the education will be free. We will also give scholarships so that children are encouraged to carry on with their studies. Whereas in BJP's duration, 29,000 schools were shut down. In Madhya Pradesh, basic amenities like electricity, water are not available in more than 9,000 schools. 65,000 schools are running with one teacher only. So these are the basic things. When all the health facilities are in a bad shape, Congress in their 15 months, we made a impactful, gainful impression in which, as I said, the loan waiver was done, the gang mafia was controlled. And as of now, in Datia, their own home minister links are there with the Satte and Katte ki Rajniti. This is what BJP does.
Okay, Dr. Sheikh, would you like to respond to that?
As far as that video she is talking about, it's the deep fake video, and about that the son of Mr.
Okay, let him finish.
Anuma, when you were speaking, I was quiet. You requested me to be quiet, and I was quiet that time. So that is actually a deep fake video, and Congress is running a dirty tricks department, and these are the same people who actually poisoned Lal Bahadur Shastri. They poisoned so many of the leaders, so they can do anything for their political benefit.
Please 10 seconds, because this is absolute fake.
Okay, I'll come to you, Ms. Acharya. Let him finish first.
Please let me continue.
Let him finish. I'll come to you. Let him finish.
Congress is a party who has poisoned JP. These are the people who have poisoned Lal Bahadur Shastri for political case. So they run.
Okay, Dr. Sheikh, let's just restrict ourselves to this debate on MP promises.
As far as this, the state, Ms. Arati was telling that some infrastructure works have been in Madhya Pradesh. Let me tell you about that. There were only 50,000 kilometers of road in Madhya Pradesh. We turned them into more than 5.5 lakh kilometers of road structure. In Vijay Singh's time, a city like Indore was having power outages of 9 hours per day. Now 24/7 electricity is there in entire Madhya Pradesh. The institutional delivery rate, that is the labor rate of women, institutional labor was just 22% in the state of Madhya Pradesh during their 10 years. Now it is more than 92%. So, and lot of things have been done. And as far as the loan on the state's GDP, loan against state GDP is concerned, in Vijay Singh's time, it used to be 32%. We have reduced it to 27%. So on all the parameters of development, Madhya Pradesh is running high. That time, the per capita GDP was 11,400 rupees. We turned it into 1,40,000 rupees. And the state GDP used to be just 80,000 crore. Today, it is more than 30 lakh crore. Means we have just minus the 15 months of Kamal Nath's 10-year and COVID period, we have increased it by 100-fold each year. So this is called all-round development, and BJP has ensured that development will take place in Madhya Pradesh. Whatever promises we have done, it is developmental promise, not fake promise.
Yes, sir, I got that point. Mr. Khandekar, I was listening to Prime Minister Narendra Modi speaking today in MP, and he said that the BJP's manifesto will make Madhya Pradesh Atmanirbhar. But I'm wondering how important are manifesto promises in the states of Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, because I come from the south of India where, the tradition of welfare and freebies is very important, and manifestos are also significant. But are they really important in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh?
See, I also don't think that there is no difference between South India or North India or maybe Central India. Promises of political parties remain promises, and they normally try to fulfill them in the last year before the elections. And the voters are also very smart now. They understand why the cylinder prices have been slashed, or why Ladli Behna kind of scheme. The important issue is that there is no point in now comparing Digvijay Singh's regime, because that was 20 years ago. In last 20 years, the entire country's economy and social systems have changed, and there is a stress on infrastructure in every state. So roads, making of roads or other things are happening in all the states. What is the point missing here? My friend Gulrez is also not saying that school education, higher education and health infrastructure in Madhya Pradesh is okay as far as papers are concerned, but the education standard in schools, also in the higher education area, is quite worrisome. And after 20 years, the BJP has to respond to this criticism that after 20 years, 2 decades, what have they done to the school children and what is the state of the government schools? And we believe in Madhya Pradesh, I am sitting in Bhopal, we still believe that, like Arati also said, Madhya Pradesh continues to be a Bimaru state. Whatever BJP leaders may be claiming, it is still a Bimaru state, and malnutrition and the state of the children and the women continues to be pathetic. Also, the state of the government hospitals and others. Of course, infrastructure has grown over a period of time, but Madhya Pradesh does not attract investment the way Maharashtra or Tamil Nadu or other states are, attracting. So
Right.
Madhya Pradesh still has a long way to go after 20 years of BJP, and that point has been understood by the voters, I believe.
Right. I know, Dr. Sheikh, you want to respond to that, but I'm falling short of time, and I want to get the last word from Ms. Jerath. Ma'am, would you like to respond to what Mr. Khandekar is saying on the quality of jobs and education? Because that precisely is very important, because good quality education will eventually lead to good quality jobs.
So this is the point, Vasudha. There is a difference between freebies and welfare. Freebies are, you're just tossing lollipops at people and saying, suck on them. Welfare is when you're actually looking at long-term measures that will improve the quality of life, the standard of living for the people of the state. And that would naturally mean better education, better health, better infrastructure, and most importantly, job opportunities for young people. Job opportunities, jobs in which they can grow, not just remain stagnant at, say the level of a laborer or something, but opportunities in which they can grow. So that is the difference between freebies and welfare. Unfortunately, what we're seeing this time is freebies. I don't see any vision being unfurled by either of the two parties for the welfare of people of the state, so that the state can actually progress from being a Bimaru state to being a state which is, up and coming or, rising. And that is a problem. That is a real problem today in both Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, that they are stuck at just handing out lollipops to people and hoping that people are going to just suck on them and vote for them.
Right.
That's not the way you run governments. You run governments on welfare.
That's a very important point. Thank you, Ms. Jerath. Thank you, Ms. Acharya. Thank you, Dr. Sheikh. And thank you, Mr. Khandekar, for joining us on this debate. That was our panel on the manifestos by different parties and what they're promising in both Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Moving on, Congress leader Digvijay Singh earlier today spoke to my colleague Anurag Dwari on why he thinks there is resentment amongst the voters of Madhya Pradesh against the BJP. Here's what he had to say.
सर जगह जगह आप जा रहे हैं, फिर से एक बार 2018 में थोड़ा लो प्रोफाइल रखा था, लेकिन इस बार बहुत एक्टिव है। जैसे पहले की तरह आपको ऊर्जा से भरपूर देखते हैं हम लोग।
मेरा प्रोफाइल तो हमेशा एक जैसे रहता है अनुराग, तुम जानते हो मुझे।
फिर भी इस बार ऐसा लग रहा है कांग्रेस को, काफ़ी जगहों पर हम भी घूम रहे हैं, कार्यकर्ताओं में ज़्यादा ऊर्जा है। तो 2018 में जो बदला था उसका बदला लेना है, या फिर इस बार ऐसा लग रहा है कि वाकई स्थितियाँ इतनी ख़राब हैं कि जनता चुन लेगी फिर से कांग्रेस को?
ऐसा है, 2018 में जितनी तैयारी थी उससे ज़्यादा तैयारी हमारी इस बार है। 2018 में कमलनाथ जी को 5 महीने मिले थे, अब पिछले 5 साल से भी अध्यक्ष हैं, तैयारी हमारी ज़्यादा है। दूसरा, एंटी इनकम्बेंसी भी शिवराज सिंह जी के काफ़ी खिलाफ है। दूसरा, जिस प्रकार से सरकार तोड़ी गई उसके प्रति भी नाराज़गी है। महंगाई है, बेरोजगारी भी है, झूठे वादे हैं, झूठे आश्वासन हैं, भ्रष्टाचार चरम सीमा पर है, भर्ती हो गई नतीजे नहीं निकले, इन सब बातों को लेकर लोगों में भयंकर नाराजगी है और काफ़ी ज़बरदस्त समर्थन हमें मिल रहा है।
पर कुछ दिनों से ऐसा लग रहा था कि कांग्रेस ग्राउंड पर नहीं दिख रही, कोई स्ट्रैटेजी थी या फिर ऐसा था कि पहले ज़्यादा मेहनत करना और बाद में?
बात यह है, ग्राउंड पे तो पहले से थी, लेकिन आचार संहिता लगने के बाद लोगों का भय से वो मुक्त हो गए। पहले भयभीत थे।
अच्छा।
हाँ, झूठे केस बनाए जा रहे थे, जिला बदर किया जा रहा था, इसलिए लोग चुप थे। अब लोग, जनता बाहर निकल के सामने आ गई है।
सर, छत्तीसगढ़ और मध्य प्रदेश में देख रहे हैं, जैसे वहाँ से जो गोधन न्याय योजना की गोबर खरीदेंगे वो बीजेपी ने ले ली, लेकिन वहाँ भूपेश बघेल कह रहे हैं कि 15,000 रुपये देंगे, जैसे लाडली बहना में यहाँ देते हैं। तो क्या लाडली बहना वगैरह कोई असर देख रहे हैं आप लोग ग्राउंड पर, क्या लग रहा है?
देखिए, ऐसा है कि लाडली बहना उनको 18 साल बाद, 19 साल बाद याद आई। इतनी बार सरकार उनकी बनी, उन्होंने लागू क्यों नहीं किया? ये सब चुराई हुई योजना है। हम घोषणा करते हैं, वो कहते हैं हम भी कर रहे हैं। ये तो मजाक बन गया।
तो कुछ गारंटी तो पहले ही ले ली, रसोई गैस 450 में देने लगी बीजेपी।
कहाँ मिले, किसको मिला है?
अगस्त कुछ लोगों को मिला था यहाँ पे।
वो तो कुछ चुने हुए लोगों को दे दिया होगा, वैसे पूरे प्रदेश में कहीं नहीं मिला है।
भाई, मैंने कुछ दिनों पहले सिंधिया जी से बात की, वो कहते हैं कि दिग्विजय सिंह जी का मैं बहुत सम्मान करता हूँ, मेरी कोई नाराजगी नहीं है, लेकिन वक्तव्य कई बार ऐसे आते हैं कि लगता है कि कुछ नाराजगी चल रही है।
आप तो उनसे पूछिए।
सर, कमलनाथ जी वाली जो बात आई थी, इसको बहुत ज्यादा उछाला गया, कपड़ा फाड़ा नहीं था, लेकिन फिर हुआ कि जय वीरू हैं, गब्बर कौन है?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं। ये बेसिक मुद्दा है महंगाई, बेसिक मुद्दा है भ्रष्टाचार, बेसिक मुद्दा है बेरोजगारी, बेसिक मुद्दा है झूठे वादे। उनसे ध्यान भटकाने के लिए दुनिया भर की बात होती है।
एक आखिरी सवाल, कितनी सीटों का अनुमान है सर, अगर एक फिगर?
130 प्लस।
130 प्लस।
So that was senior Congress leader Digvijay Singh speaking to my colleague Anurag Dwari on the prospects of the Congress in Madhya Pradesh. Moving on, a special NDTV Diwali for some underprivileged people in the national capital. NDTV team celebrated Diwali with people and children in Delhi's Taimur Nagar. The team distributed sweets and diyas to the residents here. Here's a glimpse.
दिवाली मनाए साथ में। और क्या करेंगे? दिए जलाएंगे।
दिवाली, हैप्पी दिवाली।
बहुत सारी शुभकामनाएं आप सबको। हैप्पी दिवाली।
NDTV की तरफ से आप सबको हैप्पी दिवाली।
That's all we have for you in the Battle of States. Keep watching NDTV for more news and updates.